All right, welcome to day 3 of figuring out how to make money in Bali. And today I want to talk a little bit about a talk that I went to by the man himself, Stephen Bartlett, on Friday night. And he said something that I've been thinking about more and more, and the use cases of what he said, and how it applies to my life as the days have gone by after the event, which is really cool because you hear something and then it kind of triggers this like domino effect of other areas of your life where it's applicable and how it can actually improve your life quite massively. So he told this story of his friend called Ashley, and they played paddle together, and Ashley's got all the gear, right? Ashley's got the paddle racket and he's got the trainers for it, and he actually goes to paddle a lot, but he kept on losing, right? Stephen was at the top and Ashley was at the bottom. And he told this story of how Ashley was kind of overthinking things, right? He'd go onto the court and he'd like lose all the easy shots. And Stephen had a word with him. After one of the matches, he had a word, he went up to him and he was like, yo, Ashley. I don't know if he actually said that, but you know what? Let's like go with the flow here. He was like, yo, Ashley, after you hit a shot, regardless of how it goes, whether you win the point or you lose the point, you've got to say to yourself, win or lose, I'm the better player. And so Ashley then went and did it. And he, after every single shot, whether he lost or whether he won, he would say, win or loss, I'm the better player. And so after he did that, he became top of the leaderboard. So there was 5 of them playing. Before this phrase, he was like, I'm going to lose. Sorry, before this phrase, he was losing. And then after he started saying this phrase, he started winning. And the point here is that like, and this applies to business, it applies to job applications, it applies to content creation. After every single piece of thing that you put out into the world, you are going to be faced with rejection. In fact, most of the time you're probably going to be rejected just because that's the way the world works. Because you can take an action, right? But then there's so many other factors of whether you're going to win or not. You're playing a game with other players, and there's an element of luck involved, there's an element of timing, and all these things are at play. And you can only control what you can control, right? And so when you do this, what it does is it basically allows you to continue to have self-belief in whatever you're doing, regardless of the outcome, and it detaches yourself from the outcome because you're saying, win or loss, I'm still the better player. And I'm not affected, and my self-esteem isn't affected, and my ability to play, in this case paddle, is not affected based on whether I win the point or not, because winning the point is not something that I can control. And it's interesting because in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says a similar thing. He says, the wise are the same in pleasure and pain. And what that again means is that like whether I'm losing, whether I'm winning, I'm the same, okay? My actions are going to be the same. And it's interesting because I've been doing Upwork proposals, right? That's one of the channels that and we'll talk about business in a minute, but I've started this AI automation freelancing gig. And one of the ways that I've been able to get clients is through Upwork. And what you have to do on Upwork is submit a proposal. And the way that I do it, and this is a tactical hack for you if you want to get onto freelancing and build a dream life or free life, whatever the gurus say online. I'm not saying that it's free, to be honest. You're literally just working. But if you want to live from anywhere and earn money from anywhere, a good way to do it is through Upwork. And I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that like I can submit a proposal. I can do the best that I can in this proposal. I can shoot a really high quality loom, and I had 2 views today. So I submitted 4 proposals today, or 5 proposals, and I had 2 people view it. And out of those 2, none of them replied to me. And so I could come away from that and say, fuck, I'm not good enough, or I'm never going to be successful. Or I could come away from it and say, win or lose, I'm the better player. And what that means is that like, just because they said no, or just because they didn't want me, or just because they didn't hire me, or they didn't book a call with me, it doesn't mean that I'm worse of a player in the game of Upwork. And it's the same with content creation. Like I could put a piece of content up and it could get 0 views, and I could say, shit, I'm not very good at content creating or creating content because I got 0 views. Or I could say, win or loss, I'm the better player, or the whys are the same in pleasure and pain. And this is actually something, if I were to get a tattoo, I think the whys are the same as in pleasure and pain would be something that I tattoo on myself as like a reminder, because fundamentally, right, the point here is that like, if you have self-belief, if you can believe in yourself, and whether you're losing or you're winning, you continue to have belief in yourself and you maintain that self-belief, then you eventually will win, because like regression to the mean. And the point I'm trying to make is that like your progress in anything is going to be a squiggly line. Sometimes you're going to be winning, sometimes you're going to be losing. But if you can just continue doing the daily actions of whether it's doing your reach outs, doing your outbound, applying to the jobs, going to the gym, whether like you can continue doing those things, eventually you will win, because at some point you will get lucky and the external conditions that need to be met for you to win will be met. But if you lose self-belief every single time that you lose, then you're never going to get to the point where you actually win. And I've experienced this so many times, which is why this is why I want to tattoo it on myself, where like I started posting on YouTube in 2021. And it was all about fitness, and I was so confident when I first started. I was like, yeah, like I actually set too high expectations. Again, like my goal wasn't to post on YouTube consistently, it was to blow up on YouTube. And so then whenever I didn't blow up, there was a gap between my expectation of what I was going to achieve and the reality of what happened. And because of that, I lost self-belief in myself and I quit. And I did that so many times. And so if there's someone that is earlier on in their journey of creating content or business, I think the key lesson here is win or loss, you're the better player, or the whys are the same in pleasure and pain. And it's the same with my LinkedIn posts and the same with my LinkedIn DM. So by the way, another tactical point, if you're trying to like hustle and make some money online, there's something called LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And I can't believe I haven't been using this, but it's so cool, right? Because you can literally go onto LinkedIn and it's like, I don't know, $50 for the first month on this thing called Sales Navigator. And what you can do is basically put in like a filtered search of whoever you want, right? So you can literally go on there, filtered search, and you can search, like for me, I'm going for coaches in the health, mindset, mental health, that kind of space, just because I was a coach. And so I feel like that's a good niche for me. And I don't really want to overthink it. I just want to go for it. And by the way, that's another point. Like when you have self-belief, you don't overthink things and you take more action. And because you take more action, you see more success. And I think that's why younger entrepreneurs do pretty well, is because they're just like, hey, I'm going to try it, see what happens. Whereas when you're in this like state of, my self-esteem is hinged on whether I succeed or lose, then you just start overthinking things, and that's when you just like get paralysis by analysis, which I've definitely experienced so many times before. And so yeah, I think that's another benefit of saying to yourself, win or lose, I'm the better player. But yeah, going back to the Sales Navigator thing, it's such a great tool because you can literally filter like whatever search that you want. So you can say in the United Kingdom, health coaches, 1 to 10 employees or 50 to 200 employees in the company, in this area, in this space. Like I think there's like 30 filters that you can put on to find your ICP or your target ICP, which is our ideal client. And that means you can just get a list of these people and then send connection requests. And again, like half of the connection requests, no one's going to connect with me. And then I'm going to send some messages and some people aren't going to message me back. And then I'm going to book some calls and then I'm probably going to get like one client out of maybe 100 messages that I sent, right? But the point again here is like, every time that I don't see success in each action that I take, if I keep lowering my self-esteem because of the failure in that instant, I'm just not gonna ever continue going for long enough to see the success that I need to. And so fundamentally, the first principle character trait that can be so powerful is that after every single failure, after every action that you take, you just affirm to yourself, win or loss, I'm the better player. The whys are the same in pleasure and pain. And so that's today's daily digest. I hope that helps. Leave a comment below if you're enjoying these videos. I know there's only like 5 people that viewed the last one, but again, win or loss, I'm the better player. But yeah, see you tomorrow. Peace.